Hello, friendos. How are we sound-wise? I did some rebalancing. Are we good? Are we better than we've ever been? Loud and proud and clear and all that good stuff? Excellent. Wonderful. And how are all of you? I mean, I know how some of you are because I may have seen you previously in travel. I'm still riding the high of the goodness and sweetness that was going on there. But how are all of you? Tired now. Well, you did just finish running like a 4-hour game, Anaris. Tired but alive. I hear that. I like straight rolled out of bed, got myself cleaned up and looking like a human, jumped into playing my Planescape game. Played that. Had some cute moments. Had like an hour between that and then jumped into Ryutama. Whew. Bad translations of oh. Yeah, I'm real interested to see how romantic this does or doesn't get. I don't know. As we still fondly think back on our husbando Heisuke. Smooching goodness. It is so fun. It's super fun. I love it. Heisuke. No lie, Heisuke and Chizuru is pretty much going to be my OTP forever, but I do enjoy a lot of the other routes as much. Sake! A romance sip every time we romance? Oh no, Danny. Are we now turning this into a drinking game? Good lord. I need to get unbusy and spend some time figuring out the bot thing so I can get a counter going. That would be super fantastic. It probably won't happen that often. I mean, we're now getting into the thick of the plot where we actually like hang out with him 24/7, so there might be more opportunities at least. A smooching counter. Honestly, most of the stories only get like one smooch. But there is copious amounts of like thinly veiled smut, i.e. blood drinking. So, yeah. In the original, Kazama's route was not especially romantic, but that could have changed. They changed a lot in Heisuke's route from the original, so I have hopes and dreams, and we'll see what happens. Now he's just an art nerd who thinks he understands how to flirt. That is the best description of Kazama so far. It's horrifyingly accurate, too. We will definitely not get any blood drinking with Kazama. It makes no sense for him because he's not a Fury. Oh, a narcissist. Alright, I think we're about ready to start. We'll let the music wrap up. get into the game. When it's done loading, it's thinking about it. Although hopefully my stream figured life out. Come on. Oh, that's right. I need to change the one that it's capturing because we're on a new game. My bad, fam. I forgot. We're now into the second one. Yeah, the intros in these are like super good. That's why I like to sit through them whenever we boot up the game. All right. Is the volume still balanced okay? I haven't checked it with the game on. We seem all right for the most part. I hope. Alright, sweet. I'm a bit quiet. Alright, well, I can maybe fix that. Is this better? I know the title music tends to be a little bit loud anyway, so once we get out of that, it might not be so bad. But we'll see. Bear with me a hot second here. Probably good. Alright. So, we need to go to a new game. Yes. There we go. We're starting with this guy. It does not. You basically just choose and it continues the story. Because ostensibly you can buy the two games completely separately. You do not have to play Kyoto Winds. There's a common route or a Yukimura route, which I guess is just like she just does her thing. I don't know much about that one, to be quite honest. Alright, speaking of Yukimura, I need to find my Chizuru voice again. Whew. after spending the day role-playing as a couple of teenage boys with my mid to low register, I need to figure out how to voice this girl again, so I apologize.
Winter, 1864. In order to find my father, with whom I'd lost contact, I, Chizuru Yukimura, visited Kyoto. In that city, I bore witness to a horrifying secret hidden within a group called the Shinsengumi, the Fury, a creature with white hair and crimson eyes. Luckily, I was saved from the vicious clutches of the Furies by the members of the Shinsengumi. Because I had discovered the Shinsengumi's secrets, it was proposed that I live with the Shinsengumi men since they were also searching for my father. I was given the position as the commander's page, and thus my life with the Shinsengumi began. I'd heard rumors, well, whispers really, that the Shinsengumi were little more than a bunch of crooked ronin, but my life with them proved otherwise. Their commitment to protect the safety of Kyoto made them the last of a dying breed. True samurai. It set them apart from those who only craved power. It was during this time that a group of demons, led by a figure named Chikage Kazama, emerged, standing in opposition to the Shinsengumi. Kazama had singled me out, revealing to me that the presence of demon blood flowing through my veins in the interest of abducting me to become his bride. The tug and pull of the demon's relentless pursuit revealed itself to be quite the tense struggle. At the time, the fate of the shogunate was threatened by the Satsuma Choshu, which later culminated in an inevitable battle for control of the nation. During this battle, later known as the Battle of Toba Fushimi, I found myself hopelessly separated from the Shinsengumi, only to be rescued by Kazama. Unfortunately, victory was unanimously declared in favor of the Satsuma Choshu, much to my despair. In a show of desperate abandon, the Shinsengumi retreated back to Edo with their remaining forces. With the aid of Kazama, I embarked on the trip back to Edo in search of the Shinsengumi, making my way back to the city I used to call home.
That song is super pretty. Also, yes. Dab in Kazama. Until next time, future waifu. Mirai waifu? Here we go. Hi, Ethan. Welcome. We just started.
Early winter, 1868. Intensifying tensions between the shogunate army and the Satsuma Choshu were reaching their limits. Thus, the Battle of Toba Fushimi erupted in Kyoto. The Shinsengumi had been honorably tasked with the order of guarding the Fushimi magistrate, but upon witnessing the Satsuma Choshu's devastating firepower, much of which had been purchased by Western arms dealers, the Shinsengumi was forced to retreat. In the ensuing chaos of the magistrate's evacuation, I was separated from the Shinsengumi, isolated amidst a sea of bullets and cannons firing overhead. I fled helplessly to the outskirts of Kyoto, taking refuge in the vast forest until a traitorous band of ex-shogunate soldiers discovered me, where Kazama, who arrived at the scene coincidentally, saved me from their dastardly clutches. It was in this time that I was reunited with Father, or as others know him, Kodo Yukimura, as well as my estranged twin brother, Kaoru Nagumo.
Coincidentally, yeah, I was totally not stalking, I'm sure. He was just in the area, it's fine.
But there was a very different air about Father, and he was no longer the man I once loved dearly. He synthesized a serum called the Water of Life, which was commissioned by the Satsuma Choshu Alliance in the interest of toppling the shogunate handily. To my abject horror, my father and brother revealed that a new, accelerated fury was in production, making them twice as powerful and with fewer weaknesses. For the Shinsengumi, it was unknown how they would fare against this imminent threat, when more immediate concerns were looming over the horizon. Kazama and I rode on horseback, quickly chasing after the Shinsengumi toward Osaka Castle. Once we arrived, there was a small chorus of demons awaiting us, and we were reunited with Sen, Kimigiku, Amagiri, and Shiranui. The thick air of mystery surrounding Kazama, as well as the rest of the demons, fascinated me, and there was so much more for me to learn about them. Sen is the one who advised that we head on to Edo to find the Shinsengumi, and so we set off once more, hoping that our trip would not be too arduous. The wind gently caressed my cheeks on our route to Edo, singing its hushed song through the pines. A thick fog enveloped the mountain road, covering the rows of trees ahead. The fresh scent of dew cupped on the leaves hit our noses immediately. The Tokaido was still under shogunate jurisdiction. For Kazama, who had been strongly affiliated with the Satsuma, this was enemy territory. In order to avoid being detected and engaging in unnecessary violence, we had no choice but to abandon our horse and travel down an off-trail path. My mind had been elsewhere, focused on the hope that the rest of the Shinsengumi had arrived safely. I was plagued with a haunting vision, one in which some members hadn't survived, left to suffer alone in the battlefield as their life faded atop the cinders. My arms and legs were scraped by the scattering of branches sticking into the path, as my eyes struggled to make out anything in the impenetrable darkness. I ignored my cuts, choosing to push forward instead.
少しは落ち着いたらどうだ。そんな調子では宿場にたどり着く前に体力が尽きてしまうぞ。
I appreciate your concern, but if we want to get to Edo as soon as possible, then we need to be quick about it.
ダメだ。今日はこの近くで休むことにする。
But
幕府の総大将徳川慶喜はすでに戦意を失っている。無論幕府側にも物分かりの悪い連中はいるだろうが、奴らが再戦の機を得るまでにはもうしばらく時間がかかるはずだ。戦がなければ行動たちも手柄など立てようがあるまい。お前が急いだところで状況は変わらぬ。
Golly, I feel motivated now, don't you?
what Kazama argued made a lot of sense. Or more likely, because I'd been aggressively jaunting through rough, dimly lit terrain. My feet were swollen, throbbing to the point that taking another step might cause me to topple over.
幸い向こうに廃屋らしきものが見える。あそこで休息を取ることにしよ
う。Rude, a narcissist. That's very rude.
Okay. Its dilapidated exterior gave me the frights, but nevertheless I followed behind Kazama's lead. The house itself was very modest in size. A fine film of dust covered every inch of the floor, giving me the impression that it had been vacated ages ago. Is it really okay for the two of us to waltz into this house unannounced?
家か山小屋かは知らぬが、使われていないのは一目瞭然だ。我々が使っても構うまい。
Okay, I take back what I said, Narcissus. Yeah, you're right.
今の時期に野宿などすれば間違いなく凍え死ぬぞ。
Although the thought of intruding upon someone's house somewhat unsettled me. There was no way I could die out here. Not before I discovered the whereabouts of my father and brother, and thwarted their evil plans. Fortunately, Kazama found a room with some dingy bedding arrangements, so at the very least I wouldn't freeze like he suggested. Kazama's eyes darted around the room attentively, and he stepped toward a sunken fireplace, lowering himself to take a pinch of old soot between his fingers. Being alone in this derelict house with him was nerve-wracking, though I didn't want to admit it. Without anything to contribute to the conversation, I kept my silence, watching him examine the fireplace. Kazama's eyes thinned as he stroked his chin calmly. After a moment, he reached his hand into his pocket, taking from it pieces of flint to try to start a fire. Kazama, if you're trying to start a fire, I can do it.
お前は黙って座っていろ。すぐに温まる。
But isn't building a fire a little bit more difficult than that? Back when I lived in Edo with my father, or even when I lived with the Shinsengumi, it was rare that we would need to build a fire from scratch. More often than not, we could rely on the hospitality of our neighbors to provide materials when they were unavailable.
火を起こすのは面倒なものだ。だが人間どもは面倒なことを意味嫌いすぎる。
Kazama held each piece of flint in his hands, clapping them together in a swift motion to produce sparks. Once more he reached into his pocket, pulling from it a piece of parchment to use as kindling over the small sunken fireplace, then continued to clap the flint. After a few more seconds, the sparks turned into embers over the parchment. Kazama blew air into the flame, creating a fire where one hadn't been for ages. Although Kazama was the one who'd suggested that the two of us rest for the night in this dingy house, he hadn't looked exhausted in the slightest. Perhaps, I wondered, he was only suggesting that we rest for my sake, which made me blush.
もう少しいろりの近くにおれ。体が冷えているだろう。
Okay. I did as he instructed and approached him beside the fire, extending my hands over it for warmth. My hands, which had become numb from the cold, wintry night, were tingly as feeling returned. The shadow twisted and flickered upon Kazama's stoic face as he gazed quietly into the flame.
There you go, everybody. We'll sit with that for a minute. And, you know, because I take care of y'all. More like sip with that.
I realized while staring at Kazama that there wasn't much of anything I knew about him, let alone the history of his people or where he came from. To me, they were simply demons who were ideologically and politically opposed from the Shinsengumi. And that, as a demon woman, I was their target. This was the extent of my knowledge, as his people had enshrouded themselves in secrecy for generations, so much so that even I had no idea I was a demon. All I knew was that Chikage Kazama, Kyuju Amagiri, and Kyo Shiranui were all fierce, cunning warriors. Everything else was a complete enigma to me.
Yeah, they straight up translate Oni as demon, which annoys me quite a lot, but... Meh. Womp womp. I wish they would have kept it Oni, but eh.
Kazama, would you mind sharing some stories with me about our people? About the demons?
突然なんだ。
If what you said, my father and my brother all said was true, then I too am part of the demon clan, right? But I can't help but feel so disconnected from it all. I have no idea where demons came from, how long they've been around, or even what they are. That's why I wanted to know more about myself, and about all of you, too. I was staring straight into Kazama's face, watching his scarlet eyes fixate on the fireplace scornfully. For a moment he was silent, until he begrudgingly turned his face in my direction.
鬼がどのようにして生まれ、いつからこの国で暮らしていたのかは俺も知らん。
And because it's a very subtle variation.
ただ一つ言えることは、鬼と人間の歴史は衝突や圧力の繰り返しだったということだ。我々鬼は一人で戦えば決して人間相手に遅れを取ることなどないが、人間どもは我々と違い数という武器を持っている。虎がいかに強かろうと狩れる獲物の数には限りがある。また人間の欲には限りがない。だからかつての鬼たちは人間の前から姿を消すことにした。もっとも劣った人間相手に逃げ隠れすることを良しとせず、人間どもに挑み退治されたはぐれ鬼も少なからずいたようだがな。
If you were ever told the legends or folk tales of demons in the past,
すべてとは言わんが、一部は各地に散った鬼のことを指しているのだろうな。
I wondered to myself how the demon clans might have coped with being driven into hiding. Listening to Kazama speak of his people's history so coldly raised so many questions for me.
Oh shit, I need to grab the walkthrough. Hold on. Ah! I knew I was forgetting something. Do. Do not let me forget to post them wallpapers. I'm unprepared! We're almost there. We're almost there. Also, while I'm thinking about it, really I should save. Oh, goodbye, Heisuke playthrough. Okay. We want to know why he opposed the Shinsengumi.
What compelled you to associate with the Satsuma Choshu and oppose the Shinsengumi?
Oh, hey, I missed a line. Because my mouse is a piece-o crapsky. There we go. Yes, Lynn is correct. Everyone buy the game so you have Heisuke forever.
Kazama, you mentioned something about how many of the demon clans went into isolation to disappear from human society. What compelled you to associate with the Satsuma Choshu and oppose the Shinsengumi? It was peculiar that Kazama would violate this self-imposed exile when the rest of our kind was in hiding. Re-entering human society as a force of reckoning in the middle of a heavily politicized conflict rang out as especially strange to me. Kazama was expressionless, thinning his eyes slightly in reaction to my question.
人間どもの目が届かぬ場所などこの国にはもはやないということだ。
What?
普通の人間は預かり知らぬことだが、時の権力者や諸藩の高い位にある者は我々の存在を知っていた。今から200数十年前の戦国のよう。
So, interesting note here. The stuff he's talking about actually refers to events that are in a completely different game that the same company released called Toki no Kizuna. That it literally goes through this whole thing with the Oni that took place during the Warring States period, aka the Sengoku period. There is a version of it out in English. It is a mobile game, and the translation is a bit dodgy, but if you're super into the lore of the Hakuoki verse, it might be worth playing. The art is beautiful. All of the dateable dudes are basically ancestors to all of our good Oni boys like Kazama and Amagiri and Shiranui. And others. I think Sen's ancestor is in there too, but she's a lady. So yeah, that is what he's probably going to start talking about here in a minute. I don't believe this stuff was in the original because that game came out after Hakuoki, obviously. It was like a prequel. But yeah, that's about the size of that. It's kind of nice to actually see them weaving the two together. By the Japanese version. I would never do that, Ilsiri. That's a lot of work. And my ability to read Japanese is not that good anymore. I'm super rusty.
大名の中には鬼に取り入り、その力を使って天下取りを成し遂げた者もいた。例えば、雪村千鶴、お前の家だ。
Let's pause to appreciate the fact he said our name aloud. Because they do that in Edo Blossoms. Ha!
What?
お前の先祖は関ヶ原の戦の際、徳川家康に力を貸し、かの者の天下取りの手助けをした。
So, the Battle of Sekigahara is a historical event. The battle that the Tokugawa clan took over the country and divided the country in two. The Satsuma lost and were treated horribly by the shogunate for many years. Hence their current grudge.
The Battle of Sekigahara was one of the most important battles in our country's history, signifying the pivotal shift of power into the Tokugawa shogunate's hands. To think that my ancestors had a hand in influencing the battle's outcome astounded me.
対して我ら風間家天桐家は徳川の敵となった西軍の大名についた。今回薩摩藩に手を貸しているのはその時の縁を頼られてのことだ。知らぬいは我々とは異なる理由で長州に協力しているようだがな。だが人間どもの争いに手を貸すのはこれきりだ。薩摩ももはや我々の力を当てにしてはおるまい。
Hello, Percy.
倒幕は半ばなったようなものだからな。
My mind suddenly went to the thought of the Shinsengumi men, and my eyes fell to the floor. The flame continued to crackle, punctuating the silence floating between Kazama and me.
明日も早い。今日のところはもう寝ておけ。
In all honesty, I wanted to continue talking with Kazama for a little longer, but... You're right. I think I will then. There was still so much of the mountain that we had left to trudge through, so I needed every minute of rest that I could get. It wasn't until I'd gotten close enough to the bedding that I realized just how moldy and musty it was. Kazama, do you really expect me to sleep here?
他に部屋があるように見えるのか。
But... As I listened carefully for any sound outside the house, I picked up none. Not a single bird nor insect. Seemingly the only life in the nearest mile radius was Kazama and myself. That's right. Just us. Alone.
どうした？寝るのではなかったのか。
I know! Although both of us were demons, and in spite of how I had now been dressed, the fact that remained that Kazama was a man, and I a woman. Here we were, the two of us, sleeping under the same roof like it was nothing. I didn't want to tip Kazama off suspiciously about my behavior, but just in case, I discreetly pulled the bedding from beside his bed towards the far corner next to the fireplace. No matter how sly I'd tried to be, Kazama picked up on it immediately and smirked mockingly at me.
なるほど。先ほどから妙に緊張していると思っていたが、そういうことか。
You have a problem with that? I mean, I am a woman. I just figured it was better to be safe than sorry. Why was he sniggering? His eyes thinned as they darted towards me. He spoke sharply, his voice just above a whisper.
襲ってほしいのか。
Oh, look, he's doing the thing where he gets creepy again. Also, yes, ding on the laugh counter. Hey, GMAC, welcome.
Of course not. My cheeks were burning, and not because of the fire.
冗談だ。この俺を獣か何かだと思っているのか、お前は。
Yeah, actually we do. We definitely do. I wonder whose fault that is.
鬼は格式と古き伝統を重んじる。祝言をあげるまで手は出さぬから安心しろ。
Drink for laughs or romances? I don't know. I'll leave that to you, Danny. Also, I really love how he just sort of assumes the marriage is an eventuality. Is he wearing a bolo tie? It's like a choker thing.
Marriage? But I have no desire to marry you.
明日も厳しい行軍になる。眠れる時に眠っておけ。
I think I actually missed a line, so we're gonna go back. Boop. I need to get an unsticky mouse.
But I have no desire to marry you.
いいから今日は寝ろ。明日も厳しい行軍になる。眠れる時に眠っておけ。
He's pretty much just like, yeah, well, you don't really get a choice, because there's not enough of us to go around. Hi, Farrell! Marriage is what brings us together today.
Okay. Kazama spat out harshly at me, but I knew his intentions were kind. So I did as he instructed and slipped tentatively in the damp, mildewy bedding. Although it hadn't gone without saying that I was still skeptical of Kazama. But for now I had to trust that he wouldn't lie to me, or take advantage of me while I was under his custody.
But also, yeah, like, super grossness to this nasty, mildewy bedding. Like, why not just not use it? I feel like the floor might be healthier.
More than that, it was far more pertinent that I should worry about Father and Kaoru's whereabouts. I was terrified by the thought of Father's new furies mercilessly overwhelming the Shinsengumi with their savage hunger. I must do whatever it takes to stop them. I shut my eyes uneasily, falling asleep as the fire crackled hauntingly behind me. As I awoke, every inch of my body ached, and it felt as though I closed my eyes and opened them a second later.
Look, there's a daylight version. 'Cause why not, right? At this point, I think I'm just gonna screenshot everything. But also, yeah, he hasn't moved. It's a little weird.
Kazama was fixed in place, sitting exactly as he had been when I first fell asleep, giving me the strangest feeling of time dilation. Sunlight refracted through the window, illuminating the cloud of dust particles floating in the room. A sparrow brightly chirped outside. It was morning indeed. Is it morning?
目が覚めたが、支度ができ次第出発するぞ。
How horribly fitting. Thank you, Luseri. Yeah, Kenjiro Tsuda is the actor. I read it in Western order because they keep going in Western order in this translation. Sorry. Ordinarily, I would not. So fucking fitting, though. I guess he plays a type.
Okay. Although it felt like I hadn't slept at all. At the very least, I was able to recuperate somewhat from the previous day. Just in time for another physically demanding trek.
Oh, right. Thank you. Boop!
Kazama, did you stay up the whole night?
全く眠らなかったわけではない。
Or so Kazama had claimed, but I had another idea. It was likely he observed the fire until sunrise, stoking it quietly in anticipation of morning. Thank you.
それは何に対する礼だ。お前に礼を言われる覚えはないが。
So he's gone from, like, creepy stalker to kind of unwilling, bored babysitter? Also, goodness me, the tsundere vibes.
早く身支度をしろ。行動たちを追うのだろう。
Kazama sneered as he spoke, swiftly exiting the room as soon as the words left his mouth. My initial impression of him was a curt, egotistical man who intimidated and murdered his foes without remorse. But perhaps there was more to him than I realized. That deep down he had a soft heart.
He says awful things and does kind of nice things, I guess? Danny, I know, I don't understand.
Ever since I became separated from the Shinsengumi, moments like these turned out to be few and far between, but I caught my lips curling into a sweet smile ever so slightly, and felt my chest warm from the inside.
He's just weird. He's weird. He doesn't really know how to human. Which is appropriate, I guess, because he is an Oni, so, you know. He's starting to feel actual feelings. Oh no! We should save. It's been a little while, I feel like. Kazam can no human. Human.
Kazama and I traversed the mountain path, walking past the dense rows of trees stretching as far as the eye could see. At long last, we reached a milestone, passing beside the most precipitous mountain in the country, Hakone. This was a positive sign, as Edo wasn't too far away. As we tried passing the Sekisho, however...
So, Sekisho is a famous well-fortified toll station that oversaw all of the transit through Tokaido. Its close proximity to Edo made it the primary location for the strict monitoring of guests into the city. So it's a toll gate. An important one.
お待ちください。
The voice suddenly called out to us from behind. This voice belonged to... Amagiri! What are you doing here?
Rude. I don't know if that's possible.
薩摩藩の命で各藩に密書を届けている途中なのですが。
I would really love to know why Amagiri has, like, chin fuzz, but does not have eyebrows. I just have questions about that.
その道中、あなた方の姿を見かけたものですから。
薩摩の連中の命令など放っておけ。今の状況ならば我々が手を貸さずとも倒幕はほぼなったようなものだろ
う。あなたならばそう言うだろうと思っていましたが。
You guys.
性分でして、私はもうしばらく薩摩藩に付き合おうと思います。
物好きな。
時にお二方、あともう少しで江戸ですが、あの関所をどうやって通り抜けるつもりですか？
Huh? Well, Kazama was taking the lead so decisively that I had never stopped to think there would ever be an issue. I glanced over at him worryingly, but he seemed unfazed, answering Amagiri with a deadpan delivery.
通行手形を持っている。それを使えばよかろ
お言葉ですが、その手形を受け取った時と今では状況が違います。薩摩藩に組みする我々は幕府とは敵対している身。